Hi, today's video is about top 10 tips to redesign your website without losing Google ranking. Well, it's always a headache when you redesign a website and you lose all the rankings on Google, and it's so hard to get it back once you lose the ranking. Not to mention the business you lose. Sometimes it never comes back. If something is wrong, it never comes back, and it's very hard to fix the issue. You have to resubmit to Google. So many steps. The best approach is to make sure that you migrate your old website to your new website the right way for the first time. So I'm gonna get straight into it. It's a little bit technical programming kind of video, but it's not that complicated. It's very easy. Most of the things you can cut and paste. I have all the syntaxes in the video description, so it makes your life so easy. The first step is to set up your new website on a subdomain or a different domain with separate URL and a different hosting. You can use the same hosting, but a different instance on your hosting. But when you make this new instance public, Google will index it and it will complicate things in the later point of time. So you have to make this new domain or new instance a password protected. It's very easy. You can make the homepage password protected. And another way is to update the robot.txt and make the whole website non-indexable using the syntax disallow. So that is the first step. It's very important. Don't make your website public unless and until you're done with the development and testing, and only when you're ready to migrate to the new instance, just make it public. Tip number 2, check for broken links. There are so many softwares to check broken links on your website, but I use Xenu. It's quite cool. You have to download it, but I have the link below. And check your new instance for any broken links. Tip number 3, create a list of URLs from your old website and make a sitemap. Sometimes you will have to change a new URL for the new site, but we need to have a comparison map for doing so. But it's better not to change any URL structure, but again, we have to make a comparison at the later point of time. Tip number 4, create a 301 redirections from all the old URLs to the new URLs. This is again easy. You can go to htaccess if you're on PHP or on WordPress. It's basically htaccess and then manually redirect every old URL to the new URL. And this is permanent redirect, and this will also help with your bookmarking. So even if you have your old URL bookmarked, you'll go directly into the new URL. The URL redirection tells Google that the old page is not valid anymore. The new URL is the one you need to index, and Google does that too, as well as Bing and all other search engines as well. Tip number 5. Now you are ready to move to the new website, and you have to do this all at once. The migration should happen all at once. Please try not to do it by stage. I know that sometimes developers will be on your back saying that, okay, we can't do this on one shot, but don't listen to the developers. You have to migrate everything in one shot. That is what exactly Google suggests. Tip number 6, make sure that the site is verified by Google Console, Webmaster Console. I have a link to the console below in the description, but it's pretty simple. It's straightforward. you log into your console and make sure that your site is verified. There is a button on the left bottom. If your site is not verified, you have to add like add property and verify it. And there are multiple ways to verify it, but depending upon your choice, you can do that. Once your site is verified, check that all the URLs are working properly, everything is perfect. Run a broken link check again with any broken link tool. I use Xenu. Tip number 7, go to the Google Webmaster Console and make sure that your site is indexed properly. It's very important. You can check it. It's pretty straightforward again on the Google Web Console. Use the URL inspection button on Google Webmaster Console to make sure that your site is indexed properly. If there is no problem, then request for indexing, the new website request for indexing from Google. Tip number 8, check the robot.txt. If you have altered that, make sure that every part of your website is indexed or crawlable. If there is any code which block any part of the website, remove that and make sure that everything is working properly. All the syntaxes are correct. Tip number 9, optimize and resubmit your sitemap to Google and Bing or whichever search engine you're using. For Google, you can do it through the web console, but make sure that you re-indexed all the site. Tip number 10, monitor your ranking. What usually happens is whatever you do, sometimes there will be some fluctuations in ranking, so you need to make sure that you are on top of that. Monitor it. There are so many tools available, but in our case, we have our own tool. It's called AI Insider, and we are using that tool to monitor all our clients. It's an artificial intelligence powered SEO tool, but we will talk about that later. But make sure that you are monitoring any kind of ranking fluctuation. Hopefully it will not affect you. Once you have followed all these steps and moved the content and everything properly, there are no major changes. You don't have any issues with ranking, but you have to be on top of this. Couple of bonus points. Make sure that your bounce rate is low. You have to track the bounce rate before and after the migration. You can get the bounce rate from Google Analytics. It will give you bounce rate for the whole website, for each site, for each pages. It's very thorough. You need to have the bounce rate as low as possible. Bonus number 2, if you have social media accounts, it will take a little bit more longer for Twitter, Facebook, etc. to re-index your site. So if it falls to 0, don't please panic. It's normal. They will get to it probably like in a week. Everything will be normal, but don't worry if your social media mentions like go to 0. That's all for today. Hope you like this video, and hopefully this will be useful for you guys. If you like the video, please like, and definitely don't forget to subscribe. I am going to make a video every day. Thank you so much.